dream is dead. But if I get elected president, I will bring it back bigger and better and stronger than ever before, and we will make America great again. Thank you. Thank you very much.
2016, year of the snake. Time for a change.
How's it going, Connecticut? Good to see you. We are going to be talking today about these Democrats, how they're doing across the country, what we can expect seeing going forward. It's going to be interesting. The race is getting tighter, you guys. So click the share button, let folks know we are here. Of course, we're going to give people some time to come on into the room, enjoy a little bit of laser snake while we wait. As always, my friends, as always, you know the drill. You know the drill. There's my Munkin. There's Loretta. How's it going? Good to see you. Hey, Kim. How's it going? Love you, Florida. Thank you. Love you right back, Kim. Love you right back. Catherine, how's it going? Good to see you. Tim, good to see you. Audra. Alrighty. Everybody coming on in. Oh, these Democrats, you guys. Oh, these Democrats. You know they're nuts, right? They're nuts. We'll talk about it. Even the Democrat voters are starting to learn they're nuts. Yeah, it's gone badly. We're going to talk some numbers, whereas the Yang gang might chant, math, math, math. they Yang had to quit. We're going to talk about it. How's it going, Delonta? Good to see you. Nick, good to see you as well. Karen, good to see you. Yes, from MAGA Country. Congrats on Juicy Smollett on his new indictment. Yeah, we'll see where this goes. We'll see where this goes. I got my fingers crossed. He really deserves to go to jail for this activity, for this hoax he put on. It's very damaging. It's part of why we see so much violence against Trump supporters, these lies. So we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in the show. We'll talk a little juicy. We'll talk a little juicy. Always willing to talk about some juicy. I just like saying juicy. It cracks me up. Cracks me up. Every single time. So, y'all, thank you for sharing. Click the share button. Let folks know we are live as always. That's what we do this time of day. We need him again. To be fair, we probably need him again in 2024, but, term limits. So, Juicy does need to, I'm going to put this up. Juicy needs to spend some time with Bubba. 100%, Tim. 100%. Bad Juicy. Bad Juicy. Trump. Trump. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. You are watching the one and only Trump Talk US live in DC with Suzzanne Monk. I am Suzzanne Monk. We are 8 minutes away from our nation's beautiful capital, just right over there. We are about 15 minutes away from our president's White House, right over there, just a little bit north of the Washington Monument, which you can see right out my back window. We are here in beautiful Washington, D.C. We have Chris McDonald representing Trump Talk U.S. in the room. He's sharing links that you might find interesting. He is greeting patriots. Every now and then he handles some trolls, but we don't have so many trolls over on Facebook anymore. Mostly we get them on our Periscope. We don't mind them. We don't mind. Troll on a little bit. We ignore you or we engage you and then we ignore you. So that's what we do. That's what we do. And of course, thank our sponsor, sendbag.com. If you are in the entire northeastern part of the country, and you have any delivery or shipping needs, oversized load accompaniment, medical, hazmat, any kind of special delivery, any of it, sendbag.com. And she's actually, I think, out in Boston right now. Busy. Sending Meg various places to deliver various stuffs. That's what she does. And we appreciate her support right here on the show. Of course, as always, we just give a little, you get a thumbs up here from our good buddy, President Nutcracker. President Nutcracker, producer of the show and publisher of the new site, the DemocratsAreNuts.com. And boy, are they nuts, you guys. Wait, so let's talk a little bit about this New Hampshire primary result. What we're seeing is Bernie Sanders barely edging out Buttigieg, barely making it. It's about 2,000 vote difference above Buttigieg. Klobuchar in the mix. Biden coming in about 5th. Bloomberg not even on the list. Of course, he's not on some of these earlier primaries because he did not join the race in time to get on the ballots in these earlier states. Now, let's just talk about that for a second, because there are several Democrat candidates, several Democrat incumbents, members of the Democrat leadership who have endorsed Mike Bloomberg. Why would the Democrats put somebody in the race so late in the game and then have members of their leadership endorsing this person who's late in the game? It's just a very interesting. You have to kind of look at everything the Democrats are doing. Who do they really want? Because the Democrats, as much as anybody who doesn't know this hasn't been paying attention to Democrat elections in the last 2 decades. The Democrats do not let their voters pick the nominee. Right? We all know that. The Democrat Party, the DNC, does not let their voters pick the nominee. Because if they did that, it would have been Trump versus Bernie Sanders. Trump would have still won. The country would actually be in a much more dangerous place right now because of the radical ideology of Bernie Sanders and the division the country would create because of that ideology. And we're going to talk about that as we go forward in this conversation tonight. The concerns that some of the Democrats are having with Bernie Sanders and with a Bernie Sanders nomination. It's one of the reasons the Democrats are never going to let Bernie Sanders be the nominee. They pick, not the voters. The voters don't pick, the DNC picks. So what we're seeing is a push for Bloomberg when Bloomberg is not getting the results. Now, this is happening in the entire dais of Democrat candidates. They want Biden. They're pushing Biden. Biden is not doing well. Biden is not doing well, particularly in these earlier races right now. We'll see how that goes going forward. But I suspect what we will see is Biden continue to do poorly. I think he's their Jeb. It's unfortunate. I think he's hilarious. I think he'd be the funniest candidate ever. I hope they pick Biden. They won't. But I hope they do, because you can't make up the stuff that he says. Lying dog face pony soldier, corn pop and hairy legs and lifeguard stories. It's my dream. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But what we are seeing is the Democrats having a real concern because their candidates are all, what's the word we're looking for? Socialists. They're all socialists. So I read an article. I have it up here, right, in the New York Times. But it's talking about, the headline of the article was, moderate Democrats fear Bernie Sanders could cost them the House. And here's the concern the Democrats are seeing. Because several of the seats that are in the House right now that the Democrats were able to flip in 2018, many of those are in very red Republican districts. There are several Democrat seats in the House that are new. Many of them have not been held by a Democrat. How's it going, Christina? For most of recent history, some of them have not been held by a Democrat since 50 years or more. And so now I wonder when the real candidate will serve as 210. That's a very interesting point. So now what we're seeing is these races, these House races, where their candidate, the incumbent candidate, is in a very red district that one that leans very moderately. These candidates are going to have a real hard time getting voters to come out and vote for the Democrat candidate, for the Democrat ticket, when the top of the ticket is this raging socialist who literally wants to tear down our medical system, wants to replace it with a top-centric, single-payer, government-controlled healthcare plan. That's what Medicare for All actually means. It means government healthcare for all. I mean, it means what it says. It just they say Medicare for all, so it sounds to the stupid, i.e. Democrat voters, that they're offering you something, not taking away something. In reality, when they say Medicare for all, what they're saying is no to your private healthcare, no to affordable insurance, no to the policy that you have right now, no to employee-based insurance. You are going to get the government package. You are going to get what the government gives you. There's nothing you can do about it. Deal. Now, I know we can go into a huge argument on socialized medicine, and the argument always ends up the same. Some chuckleheads try to tell you, oh, we'll look at England. Oh, we'll look at Canada. Oh, we'll look at Sweden. Look at all these other places that have repeatedly failed and struggled under these very oppressive top-down systems. Canada, as we know, wait times ridiculously long for treatments, very basic treatments, but because they don't have the access, because one, doctors quit working when they can't get paid. So when the government controls how much the doctor can get paid, the doctors quit working. It's not going to work for nothing. So we see already the effects of that. Bernie Sanders, that's merely one. That's merely one of his policies. The Democrat Party is actually starting to discuss his quote-unquote political revolution. That's what the article refers to it as, Bernie Sanders' political revolution. Now we have to ask ourselves, what the heck is he talking about? What political revolution? Right. Away from capitalism, away from private property, away from everything that holds our country, everything that we hold very dear in our country that is critical to our individual liberty. That's what Bernie wants to get rid of. That is his goal. Loretta, good question. Let's answer this question because I don't know. Loretta asks, are the Dems really trying to win? Hard to tell with their candidates. Really hard to tell, Loretta, because let's talk about that for a little bit. As we're talking about Bernie Sanders being a very socialist candidate, very Marxist ideology, big government, communist, collectivist, statist ideology. And then we see Buttigieg, okay? And right now, the Democrats are trying to sort of present Buttigieg as a moderate to a Bernie Sanders. Now, the reality of the situation is that Pete Buttigieg is actually just as Marxist, just as socialist, just as collectivist as Bernie Sanders is, if not more so. If you read back into his history, if you read back into his collegiate history, some of the works he did, several essays touting the values of socialism as a replacement for the American system. He's kind of like a white gay Obama. We haven't heard of him. He came out of nowhere. He's got these weird college essays that really do not bode well for the American style of politics. Here's the reality. The voters are not going to pick Buttigieg as a whole. Buttigieg would not be able to carry the Democrat ticket to victory over Donald Trump. He can't beat Trump. He knows it. Everybody knows it. Is it because he's gay? The question becomes. I don't think so. I don't think it has anything to do with him being gay, although that certainly is going to be a very difficult sell for moderate Americans, for the middle America. That's going to be very, very difficult sell in the red states, the flyover states, not because those people have a problem with gay individuals per se, but because when you become president, the kind of things we tolerate from our neighbor are not necessarily the kind of things we tolerate from a president. Okay. We expect a president to have a certain decorum, to have a certain cultural cross appeal. And certainly when we see somebody as radical. Now, my concern about Buttigieg is more his radical leftist ideologies, but also that people are not aware of those. And so we're going to see how the Democrat Party treats him going forward. They might, if he can get some teeth, they might try to give him a boost. But I'm pretty sure they know just as well as anyone that it's certainly not going to be something that's a long-term sustainable candidate. Now, well, Sandra, if you're talking about radical leftism, everybody on the Democrat ticket, as a matter of fact, everybody on the Democrat ticket wants to, in some way, destroy the basic principles of this Constitution. Whether it be by taking away your individual property through massive amounts of taxes, whether it is by destroying your health care, whether it is destroying our borders. In fact, all of the moderate candidates, the Tulsi Gabbards, many of the moderate candidates that pulled out of the Democrat race early on, these were some of the complaints they had. Their concerns were that the Democrats had gotten so radical. We're literally arguing. When Bill Maher suggests that literally arguing for the end of borders, when James Carville argues that the Democrat Party has lost its mind and they are literally arguing for the end of borders, for the destruction of the country, James Carville is trying to tell you that the party has gone too far to the radical left. Now, that's the same thing that these moderate Democrats are telling you. Now, I'm interested to see Amy Klobuchar going forward because she did pull in a third position spot here in this New Hampshire primary. That might be an interesting candidate because it certainly pulls the middle of the party back into play a little bit. But if you go with a Buttigieg, if you go with a Bernie, which they won't, the Democrat Party has no intention of giving Bernie the nomination. They didn't in 2016. They do not again today. Now let's talk about Bloomberg because I know that Christina Rossi brought up what about Bloomberg. Here's what I'm finding about Bloomberg. He's not polling very well, in part because he was not on the ballot in these early races. So we're still talking about the early races, and we're not getting Bloomberg results from that. So, but what we're going to see going forward is how the rest of the country responds. Now, if you can't get a positive, what's unfortunate is that for Bloomberg, I mean, not unfortunate for us. I think Bloomberg is a horrible candidate, much like Tom Steyer. They are merely wealthy individuals who are in the process of running their campaign to help establish a funding source for the DNC in the general election. Bloomberg has openly stated this fact. He has openly stated that he is creating a fundraising mechanism that he will use and hand over to the eventual nominee. So this is certainly what we're seeing with Bloomberg's race, and I suspect Tom Steyer very similarly, that these are individuals who are in the race, not really because of the race per se, but because of the long-term general election strategy that their fundraising ability can provide. So who are we going to end up with? I don't know. At this point, James Woods, myself, other people are predicting a brokered convention that we are predicting the Democrats will continue to destroy their electoral process as we're seeing go forward, and a potential brokered convention putting in somebody who will come and save the day. As we all know, James Woods, others believe that person will be Hillary Clinton. We're going to find out. How's it going, Helen? We're going to find out, but it's going to take time. And it's going to change as time goes forward. You know, for example, with the Biden case, Hunter Biden is has been charged, is being investigated and has been charged for money laundering in the Burisma case in the Ukraine. That case continues to move forward. We're going to see that case continue to move forward. How does that affect Joe Biden in the race? We don't know. We do not know going forward. Timing is going to be a big issue. It's also going to depend on how that hits towards Super Tuesday. And as we know, Super Tuesday is a big deal. This New Hampshire, Iowa primary stuff, nobody pays attention. Sonia, welcome. Nobody pays attention. Why? We pay attention right now, but in a few weeks, we're going to have Super Tuesday. It's going to be a huge number of states come in, and no one's going to be talking about New Hampshire or any of these, or Iowa, or any of this, the rest of this business. But we are going to be talking about going forward, which of these candidates is going to get the nom, and it's not looking good for any of them. So anything can happen. Anything can happen. Tim, I agree with you. I don't know when. I don't know how. But I think she's getting in there somehow. And I said to somebody the other day, Hillary Clinton, her only goal in life is to be president of the United States. So if she is not trying actively right now to be president of the United States, she's dead. And I'm pretty sure she's not dead. So she's actively trying somehow, some way, behind the scenes to be president of the United States. It's Hillary Clinton. It's the same where we know Lex Luthor is trying to defeat Superman. Okay. We know that Tom is going to chase Jerry. Okay. We know the Coyote is going to try to catch the Roadrunner and fail. All right. We know Inspector Gadget is going to mysteriously bumble his way to the solution of the crime. All right. We know these things. We know Hillary Clinton we know Doofenshmirtz is still trying to take over the tri-state area. We know. We also know Hillary Clinton is still trying to be president. Haley, unfortunately, the Democrat Party, the Democrat leadership does not like Bernie Sanders. They have done themselves a disservice because they have, rather than look, if you're the Democrats and you don't want Bernie running, he's an independent, make him not run. But they have given him more opportunities to run, and they've given him the illusion that they would give him the nomination. But it's not Bernie that they're giving that illusion to. That's not the concern I have. Bernie's a big guy. He's a grown man. He can handle himself. He can deal with the disappointment. It's his voters. It's Bernie's voters that are being really demoralized by this process. It happened in 2016. Bernie supporters came out in force. They stole about 10 million votes from Bernie, handing the nomination to Hillary Clinton. Bernie's voters were very disappointed, were very demoralized. Bernie caved. He basically caved in to the DNC, got behind Hillary Clinton. His voters did not appreciate that. A lot of his voters came over to vote for Trump at that time. A lot of Bernie voters, we had a lot of Bernie voters decide to vote for Trump. They would rather vote for Trump than vote for Hillary Clinton or the DNC who just stole the election from us. So, from the Bernie voters, obviously. Now, it's totally worse because now these voters have no trust. Tim says his voters think he has it, but they are so wrong. They're horribly wrong. Tim, I'm going to pop that up so people know what I'm talking about. They're horribly wrong because the DNC has a going petition, John. Because the DNC has led his voters on now twice. Well, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And I suspect the Bernie voters are going to react to that on that premise very strongly if Bernie is, as I believe 100% he will be, denied the nomination yet again. Now, what does that mean for the DNC? Are they going to pull these Bernie voters over? Are they going to somehow get these Bernie voters excited enough about whoever stole the election from Bernie this time to come out and vote again? Yes, thank you, Haley. Thank you for posting that. we have a little troll in the Periscope room. But see, I have some great listeners because they say, "Oh, Trump failed to build a wall." Nope, Haley's got the truth. Trump is building the wall over 100 miles, over 400 miles by the end of this term, I am told. So, thank you, Haley. Bam. High five. Now, let's talk a little bit about the growing violence against Trump supporters, because I think this ties in directly with the Bernie supporters, with this issue we have with Bernie Sanders running as a Democrat in the Democrat election. So Bernie Sanders has drawn towards him the most radical leftist element in the country. He is supported by violent radical leftists, among other many. Not all of Bernie's supporters are violent radical leftists, but there are. If you are a violent radical leftist, the likelihood that you support any other candidate, zero. All of the Antifa left, the anti-racist action, the communist left, the Socialist Worker Party, all of these groups, beyond any means necessary, et cetera, all of these groups actually are behind Bernie Sanders. And as we've seen with the Project Veritas videos, it's not just that they're behind Bernie Sanders, they're actually working for Bernie Sanders. They're actually getting paid. Bernie Sanders is actually paying radical violent leftists who suggest that we put people in gulags because they don't agree with us politically. We have to re-educate everyone. Sadly, I think it's the left we might need to re-educate. But this is certainly what we see. Haley, I do not think Haley asked a great question. Do Bernie's people understand communism? Really? They do not understand real communism. In fact, it's very interesting because there was a woman, article written recently, a woman who survived, an immigrant American who came here from a socialist country, who is speaking very clearly, wrote an open letter to Bernie Sanders talking about what he's preaching. This socialism, this socialist ideology he's preaching is such a deadly system that she escaped that system and wants to inform people of the dangers of that system. And certainly what we have had in this country is a leftist indoctrination system through the school system, through our movies, through our culture that promotes movies about Che Guevara and other radical ideologies, making them taking the dirty parts out, taking the ugly parts out, and glamorizing, the Motorcycle Diaries, for example, glamorizing the lives of murderous radical leftists. Hey, Debbie, how's it going? So here's what we're seeing going forward. The Democrats have a real problem. The Democrats' problem, namely, consists of the fact that they have divided their electorate between individuals who are progressive and individuals who are radically communist and or anarchist. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know a lot of anarchists who are like, oh yeah, let's just vote for the next best thing. They don't do that. Their ideology is to tear down the system. The only reason they would be voting for Bernie Sanders is to tear down the system. So the schools, Haley, are so poisoned. They're poisoned with anti-American information. They do not inform young people of our Black founding fathers. They do not inform young people of the former slaves, even that rose up, escaped. Robbie Smalls, you should look it up. Robbie Smalls is a very, we've been reading about him, shared a meme of him as well. Amistad, James Amistad, so many different individuals who actually participated in the founding of our country, either were slaves or were freemen, and were inherent, critical to the foundation of the nation, to our effective revolution against the British, to our individual liberty, and certainly are a testament to the reality of the situation that this nation was formed not as a slave state that oppressed Black people and intended to do that for all time while all the other nations were great. It's just America that was bad. This is actually the opposite of the situation. We had slavery going on in all of the other parts of the world. It was the American system. In fact, it was this little book. Where's my little guy? Where's my little guy? Oh, here. It was this document right here, the Constitution. This document right here that laid out the foundation of a state that would not allow slavery. This was the first time in American history where the idea of not allowing slavery was ensconced in a political document that founded the principles of a nation. We're not teaching anyone that. And so when we don't teach people the truth and we teach people the lie, we teach people like our little friend here from Periscope, America was never that English, but we get the principle. America was never great. America has actually been great since the beginning. It's been more and less great as we have focused on these ideas, as we have supported the ideas of the Constitution and individual liberty, or we have allowed collectivism and progressive ideologies to destroy and decay that. So what are we seeing in regards to additional violence? Hello, Deborah. How's it going? We're seeing additional violence towards Trump supporters. Recently, obviously, the case down in Florida with the individual who ran his truck through the voter registration booth in Duval County in Florida. Excuse me. Governor Ron DeSantis, very kind to bring all of the members who were actually at that booth that day, hand-signed Make America Great or Keep America Great hats from President Trump. Probably because Facebook's been hiding me, Deborah, but we're doing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday now. So 8 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm on pretty regularly. We also saw a gentleman, recent article I read today, a gentleman who was attacked by a woman because he had his hat said, make 50 great again. It didn't even say make America great again. It said make 50 instead of America. It said 50 great again. It was his birthday hat. It was his birthday. It was his 50th birthday. It said make 50 great again. Somebody got him the hat, gave him the hat. Some lady attacked him for the hat. Now, these acts of violence continue to happen and continue to grow because we see a Democrat Party, including the Democrat candidates, who openly call the president dangerous, the most dangerous president in our lifetimes, they say. And they intentionally frighten people about all of these. It's all the things we hear, but certainly it goes more and more and more. The media continues to do this. The impeachment hoax has been an entire process by which the radicalized left, the Trump derangement syndrome left, are more and more convinced at their right, that at their righteousness, that they're correct. It doesn't matter that we acquitted him. The fact that the Republicans didn't do it the way the Democrats wanted to, the Democrats spin it that way. The Democrat voters come out and they say, oh, the whole trial is bunk because we didn't call witnesses. It doesn't matter how many times we say we would have loved to call witnesses. What about Hunter Biden? What about the whistleblower? They get mad. They don't want, but the voters get mad. The crazy people who get unhinged, who attack you with your hat, who drive your car around, these people get mad because they are unhinged. You're right, Nick, but they are that way because, one, the Democrat leadership continues to promote this danger narrative, and two, the mainstream media is constantly touting the Democrat danger narrative. So they have a megaphone that they have been ongoing. If you talk to radical TDS leftists, they literally will say, oh, well, Trump supporters attack people all the time. And you ask them what? They have that one time in the rally where the old guy the black dude punched this guy in the face. Well, the black guy was called an N-word by the guy. I mean, he admitted he was wrong, but shouldn't have punched him. But black Trump supporter gets called the N-word by some radical leftist as he's being dragged out. That's not the story the left will tell you. And yet that's the story that actually happened. So what they won't tell you is the story about how Trump supporters are attacked. They won't talk about Andy Ngo, who was attacked. They won't talk about, they're not going to talk about any of these recent situations with the guy who nearly drove everybody down. They're certainly not going to talk about Berkeley. They're not going to talk about Portland. They're not going to talk about repeated acts of violence, even right here in D.C., up on the Northwest Side. An immigrant beaten up because he wore this hat, which apparently, yes, Monica, the hat was a joke. Exactly. Thank you. Make 50 great again. It was a joke, but it shouldn't cause violence. You shouldn't be physically assaulted because you wore a funny hat. Have you seen the hats? Hey, Ariel, how's it going? Have you seen the hats that say "made you look"? At this point, where we're at is the Democrats have so riled up because they do not have any capacity. And I don't know why they don't have this capacity, because it's really not that hard to come up with a platform. It's really not that hard to come up with policies that the voters want. It's really not that hard to take a minute and go, what are voters struggling for? Voters are struggling with, they need more income. Okay. They want better jobs. The healthcare situation has not been resolved. The healthcare situation, obviously, we are still working on that. They want to be safe. They want to be secure. They don't want bail reform that puts criminals right back out on the street. They don't want the government telling them what size soda to drink, whether or not they can have a plastic straw. They don't want those things. They want more money in their pockets. They want their kids to have a decent education. They want their communities to be safe and clean. And they want to be left alone. That's everybody. That's actually everyone. Now, the Democrats obviously have worked very hard to produce this ideology that if you just want to live a good life, thank you, Deborah. If you just want to live a good life, take care of your children, live the American dream for yourself, have a good education, build a career, contribute back to society, participate in your community, raise your children. If you want those things, you're selfish, because the Democrats need you to care about transgender individuals. They need you to care about gay individuals. They need you to be, if you're white, they need you to be very guilty. They need you to be very guilty and feel very bad about yourself based on entirely false information about Black history, which is so unfortunate. It goes on like this. They are not there to try to give you something positive. And we're seeing this in studies that are being done now. I know, you're absolutely right, Tim. I'm going to put that up in a second. There are studies being done now. The American population under Trump is actually happier. They feel more positive. They feel better about their lives. They feel that their lives are more successful, that they're accomplishing more. It's very positive, high number now. Except for Democrats, except for the more likely, the more dyed in the wool, the less independent, the more Democrat, leftist, Nancy Pelosi loving Democrat, the actually more depressed, more unhappy, more emotionally disturbed you are. This is what we're finding. And why? Well, a great article I read, I posted it on my page. It's based on this individual who went to a Trump rally. He was a Democrat, lifelong Democrat, went to the Trump rally. And that's exactly it. Helen, I'm going to put this up. What that individual, that Democrat, lifelong Democrat, found in engaging Trump supporters, he found hope for the future. Whereas the Democrats were giving him gloom, doom. The world's going to come to an end. We have 12 years left to live. Everything is poisoning you. We're all, it's just doom and gloom. Guns are going to kill you. Baby powder is going to kill you at this point. He found the individuals positive, had hope for the future, had dreams and goals. Whereas he found his Democrat friends miserable, doubtful, upset, not having a positive feeling about the future. So what we're seeing is, and I think this is going to be the Democrats' real Achilles heel, and where they're going to find they are doing much worse than they have in the past. They have provided, in the last 4 years, they provided no hope whatsoever. Trump, however, has provided massive amounts of hope, massive amounts of successes. No matter how much they want to lie and tell you Trump didn't build the wall, Trump didn't keep any promises, the economy is all Obama. None of those things are true. Nobody believes that. We see the 100 miles of wall that have been built. We see the Dow at record levels. We see the job market. We see the median income coming in, going up. We see the 401ks growing. We see your investments getting stronger. We see all of those things in tangible real life. I don't know. That's a great question. I'm going to put this up. So who thinks Obama fixed the economy? Crazy leftists, crazy liberals, crazy Democrats will tell you that. Oh, that's because Obama. And I always ask them this. This is my pat answer to that. That's interesting. If Obama could fix the economy, why did he wait until after he left office to do it? Why did he set up a plan where it took 9 years to fix the economy and he only had 8? That seemed like, if that was the plan, he should have been telling about the whole time, hey, it's 9 years. Because he didn't fix the economy. He nearly destroyed the economy. What's fixing the economy is lower energy prices, is deregulation, getting the boot of the government off the neck of the small business owner, dealing with these imbalanced trade deals that are making it very hard for American farmers, American manufacturers. We see that manufacturing coming back. We see growth in the farm industry, and we see that because the fundamentals, the economic fundamentals, are sound. Even with, and we've talked with Tim Rush, we talked with Daniel Burke even when we see the bankers continuing to try to game the market, continuing to try to do the same things they've been doing with their derivatives spinning and all of these very shoddy, frightening investments that the banking industry has been able to perform and do so that they make a lot of money, but certainly it creates devastating crashes in the market when those bubbles burst, as we saw with the Enron situation. Certainly what we see here in this economy is a race, our president trying to build the fundamentals of the economy fast enough so that whatever it is that the global banking industry is trying to do cannot actually suppress the American economy. We're doing that, but we certainly can't do that with a doom and gloom mentality. Now here, we're going to close out on this concept a little bit. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's going on with Roger Stone, because I think there's some big things happening there. Bernie Sanders in New Hampshire in 2016 took 60% of the vote in the primary. 60% of the Democrat primary voters went for Bernie Sanders in 2016. He only took 24%, under 25%. So there are a bunch of folks who have tried to spin it that Bernie Sanders swept New Hampshire. Not even the New Hampshire Democrats will allow that to be the prevailing ideology. They have pointed out in several articles that they're very frustrated with the process, as have been the Iowa voters, that in fact, Bernie Sanders is not extremely popular in New Hampshire. In fact, he's less popular in New Hampshire than he was in 2016. And we're going to find that across the nation. Bernie Sanders is not as popular as he was in 2016. He's not going to pull the voters out. But, Super Tuesday is going to really sort out some interesting details. And I think we're going to hear a little bit more about Amy Klobuchar in the next few weeks. Certainly. Loretta says they don't have the public in a panic at all times. They wouldn't be able to control us. Yeah, and that's been the Democrats' model. President Trump, however, is on this idea that the public should be happy, healthy, employed, prosperous, and then they don't need you to control them. What? It's almost like he read this little book or something and wants to follow it. Weird. I'm going to vote for him, though, because I like people who want to follow this book. That's my favorite thing. All right. Roger Stone. The Roger Stone case is certainly getting a little interesting. All 4 of the prosecutors in the Roger Stone case have quit. They are very upset that the DOJ has sent down recommendations that do not include their radical 9-year prison sentence that they wanted to give Roger Stone. Now, I suspect we're going to be hearing more about this issue because it's only begun. It's only begun to start to simmer, and what we're seeing from the House Judiciary Committee, I believe, has asked William Barr to come and testify for them. Attorney General William Barr, yes, that one, has asked William Barr to come and testify to them in regards to basically the aftermath of the impeachment situation. So William Barr has agreed to do that on March 31st. Now, it's going to be very interesting because when Attorney General Barr agreed to this meeting, this testimony in front of the House Judiciary Committee, he was very eager to come and speak to them. And I suspect we'll have a great number of things to speak about: the FISA warrants, many of the other criminal activities that have been going on with the FISA courts, the dossier, the et cetera, this ongoing, the Ukraine case. It's going to be interesting. So we're going to keep following up on that. We're going to keep following what's happening with William Barr, with the Attorney General, and on his pending testimony in front of the House Judiciary Committee. Expect some fireworks, you guys. From what we're hearing in DC, from what we're hearing in the swamp, the hammer is coming down. And though it seems like it moves slowly, the wheels of justice move slowly. They are certainly moving bit by bit. I'm excited. All right, you guys, 2 weeks away from CPAC. It's going to be exciting. It might be one of the best CPACs ever. I really appreciate Matt Schlapp. After last year's debacle with Laura Loomer, I'm assuming Laura has been embraced with open arms. Scott Presser will be speaking at CPAC. I'm very proud of him for being asked to do that. We'll see Nigel again. It's going to be so good to see Nigel Farage again. He will be there. It's going to be some great Patriots. Might be one of the best CPACs yet. And I just want to commend Matt Schlapp for kicking Mitt Romney out. So you can come to CPAC, have a good time. Mitt Romney isn't going to be there to ruin it for you. Not you, Mitt. Not you. And that is our show for today, folks. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Even our little lefties who pop in. Y'all just actually add to my numbers. It's a plus, not a minus. It's a plus, not a minus at all. And we will be back again on Friday with more news, more information, everything. Until then, I'm going to give you this a little bit outro. We're going to just a little bit of laser snake.
American dream is dead. But if I get elected president,
it's an interesting time we're living in, folks.
Bigger and better.
It's going to keep changing day by day, week by week. Stay tuned for the news. Virginia, keep up the good work fighting back against the anti-gun lobby. We've made some good progress on the electoral college issue there. We need to keep fighting for that, however. They are continuing to try to sneak both gun legislation and national popular vote legislation in Pennsylvania, in Virginia, in some of these bigger states. So keep your eyes open. I will be making a video in support of my dear friend and candidate, Dr. Alma. So I'm going to be dropping a video for her in a little while, running down in Texas. Fantastic woman. Love Dr. Alma. Amazing patriot. Strong, passionate patriot. Love her. We're going to talk more about her as the weeks and months go forward. But keep an eye out for that. Until the next time, you guys. Love you. She goes to Suzzanne. Jumping out.